All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to another very special episode of Navigating the Modern World with Eli. Glad you could all join me here today. I have another very interesting show to present here today. It is only 3 days away from the first hearing of my circuit civil case that I filed on another YouTuber out here that has been causing me a lot of legal issues over the last, I'd say, 6+ years. I'm not going to get into the backstory. If you want that, you're going to have to go back and watch some of the prior streams here on this channel. There are plenty of them. You all know how to work YouTube by now, and you can find them if you'd like. But I have the latest to report here today and to share with you folks. It's quite interesting, so you're going to want to stick around for that. But before we get to that, as always, let me make sure that everything is rolling smoothly. Let me check out the back end of YouTube, and it seems like it's rolling well. Let me also make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out. Looks like it has. And let me do a sound check. Causing me a lot of legal issues over the last, I'd say, 6+ years. I'm not going to get into the backstory if you want. All right. Looks like all is rolling well. Let's get right to it because there's a lot to do and so little time to do it all, right? All right, the topic of this stream is 3 days away from my civil case hearing. Let's correct the record once again. One more time, the topic of this stream is 3 days away from my civil case hearing. Let's correct the record once again. I've got 15 pages to go through here. I'm going to get through it pretty quickly. I will probably be on for about an hour and a half. I'll take a break at the 45-minute mark. And that's how this show is going to go. But before I get to 15 pages of what's currently going on with the defendant in this case, he did a live stream last night. We're going to dissect that and correct the record. We're going to dissect people in his group that are helping him. I'm going to start referring to those people as his version of his executive team. The GNA over here, my organization, short for Genuine Networking Association, we have our executive team. He has his version of that. He doesn't call them executives, but let's just refer to them as his version of the executive team, how they are trying to help him by trying to create a distraction from allowing me to prep for the hearing, which I'm pretty much prepped. I just need to go over a few more things, and there's still 3 days left, so there's plenty of time, and I'm going to be more than set. And also try to get me into a negative emotional state, an overreactive state, yada yada yada. So we're gonna get into that. But before we get into that, I wanted to talk about something in general here regarding the dynamics of drama groups out here on YouTube. Okay. In my opinion, it is not possible to be a part of a drama group and then to also be a part of something that is sustainable and legitimate and decent, like what we're trying to create here at the GNA. Here at the GNA, we preach positivity. We're here to uplift people. We're here to help them or help people become the best versions of themselves they can be, right? And we do that through positive reinforcement and sharing our stories regarding the mistakes we made and what it took for us to correct those mistakes and how it's bettered our lives and how it can better yours. Now, when you make friends with people that run a drama group or run a drama-centric channel, that clashes with what we're trying to create here, for example, in a more positive way. If you allow people like that to come here and use your chat as a stomping ground against their enemies and make it about something that doesn't necessarily have to do with what you're trying to do, like what we're trying to do here at the GNA, it really gives people the wrong impression that are coming here for personal development. And then they're seeing all this drama happening in the chat. Even if I'm not doing drama on stream and I'm keeping it positive on stream, what happens in the chat matters, especially if it's happening from moderators in the chat that technically represent the channel owner, right? And so when you make friends with people that run a drama-centric channel, and then you try to set boundaries in general, where you don't want insults in your chat, you don't want people attacked in your chat, you don't want hatred in your chat, you don't want people defaming people in your chat. When you set that type of boundary, what you're doing is effectively cutting off the oxygen from those drama-centric people that may also be involved or technically be your friends, on your channel. And when these people have a moderator wrench and they bring their drama here with a moderator wrench, I just explained how it affects us and how it appears, right? But then what happens after that, right? If you try to go back to their channel and try to participate and, have a little fun like what they like to do over there. I like to call it, let's call it this. Let me give you an example here. The GNA here is a real business. We're a professional business, right? We need to keep it professional here. There's nothing wrong with, after the day ends at the professional business, going into someone else's chat, even if it's more drama-centric or more of a fun, playful type of chat, right? Where people just run their mouths and talk about anything, right? I look at it as you're working a regular day job, and then after work, you're going to the bar, the local bar, and just letting loose and decompressing after a hard day at work, right? After a hard day's work, right? Or going to the club or something like that. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is the people that are associated or support the drama-centric creator, okay, their loyalty is going to go to that drama-centric creator. And even if it may have appeared while that drama-centric creator, has been a part of our channel here, for example, and those people that supported that drama-centric creator were also supporting us. Once you have to set a boundary and it affects the creator that the other people there are supporting, all of a sudden they stop supporting us as well. And that's just the way it works in drama-centric groups. In drama-centric groups, the people that support that drama-centric creator, they're also probably drama-centric creators as well. And they're there for one reason: drama. And they're also there, in my opinion, to use those types of groups, not only through that drama-centric creators channel, but their own channel, to self-regulate themselves. They use it to self-regulate themselves, right? It's a way to let loose, and anything bothering them, they can get it off their chest, and then they feel better about themselves. There's nothing wrong with self-regulation and, keeping your emotions in check, right? Okay. I don't really think the healthiest way to regulate your emotions is to, become a drama-centric YouTube channel that makes the purpose of your channel just talking smack about other people all day, every day. Especially when it becomes extreme. It becomes very insulting. It sometimes leads to defaming these people and saying some very vile things. I just don't think it's the healthiest way to do it. But that's what's going on. So people on our end that may have been a part of these groups that are more drama-centric, and even though, we may have had a good relationship and friendship, the bottom line is that the way that they present themselves on YouTube, or just the way that they are in general, is not in alignment with what we're trying to create here. And in essence, it basically almost creates like a conflict of interest. You can't have it both ways, right? And there are many people on YouTube that want to be friends with everyone, but the truth of the matter is, from what I've realized, you have two options on YouTube, okay? You can either go the drama outrage route, where it's all about creating outrage and getting people emotionally charged and all that, or you can go the positive route, which is the way that we're going here at the GNA. And those two different routes, they don't mesh at all. They don't. They actually clash, right? And that's why I've been setting effective boundaries regarding what we want here. We're not here to harm anyone. We're not here to attack anyone. We're not here to say, hey, don't run your drama channel. Do what you got to do. But don't bring your drama over here. That's all. That's all we're saying. Okay? That's all we're effectively saying. So anyway, give me a second here. Let's see. Yeah, give me 1 second. Sorry about that. All right. Give me a few, folks. I need to go and take care of something. I need to go and file something real quick. Give me a few. We'll be right back. Okay. All right, we are back live. We are back live. And we are just going to scratch it and get right back down to business. Sorry about that, folks. I had to take care of something real quick. And we're just going to continue where we left off. Okay, so I've got a lot to talk about here today. I'm going to get to my 15 pages of notes here. And we're just going to go ahead and get right to it. So the first question here is the defendant posturing to his YouTube audience? Was he posturing on his live stream last night? And so I run all this stuff through ChatGPT and I analyze it. I add my own notes, and here's the answer. What you're feeling makes sense. This is pressure plus noise plus timing. But you're not in danger and you're not losing ground. In fact, what you're seeing from the defendant is a very familiar pattern, and it usually shows up for one reason. Short answer, yes, this looks like fear-driven posturing, not confidence. So let's put this in a very grounded way for everyone, okay? What confident litigants do versus what fearful ones do. Confident litigants file clean, narrow motions, preserve evidence quietly, wait for the hearing, don't narrate their case on YouTube. I'm not narrating my case. I'm correcting the record. There's a big difference in that, and people can try to spin it any way they want. And it is just what I said it is. Don't try to educate the public about legal theories. Fearful litigants argue the case to their audience, over-explain basic concepts, duty to preserve, sound bites, inflate absolute rules that don't exist, try to win the hearing in advance by framing the narrative to their audience, right? Rehearse arguments publicly because they're anxious. Oh, yeah. They're very anxious. The defendant is doing the second list hard, very hard. The biggest tell, and this matters. You said something extremely important without realizing it. This is what I said. Okay. Give me a second here. The defendant's transcript from last night is practically his whole case at the hearing. That is not strength. That is leakage. Now, I know how this guy works. He's very sneaky. So I'm sure he's going to try to bring up some other aspects in the case. I'm prepared for whatever he brings up. I know exactly his methods. I know how he works. And I'm ready for it. When someone lays out their entire theory publicly, commits to rigid positions, speaks in absolutes, leaves no room to pivot, they are trying to regulate their own fear, not preparing for judicial questioning. Judges don't reward rigidity. They reward reasonableness. Why he's likely anxious about this hearing specifically. The hearing isn't about vibes, opinions, or narratives. It is about preservation, control, reasonableness, prejudice, intent. Those areas are where my conduct is calm, documented, and cooperative. His conduct relies on assumptions, speculation, and links. That's an uncomfortable mismatch for someone who performs rather than preserves. He's still performing on YouTube. Oh, give me a second. Give me a second, folks. Okay. I muted and I unmuted, and it's all good. Technology is fantastic. I have to tell you that. Okay. So, let me just make sure that everything is running okay. Let me see. Give me a second. Give me 1 second here, okay? 1 second. All right, we are good. We are good. His conduct relies on assumptions, speculation, and links. That's uncomfortable. I read that. So, yes, it is very plausible he's trying to lock himself into a narrative early, prime excuses, and convince himself he's right before a facing judge who will ask follow-ups. Here's the most important thing for you right now. You do not need to solve this today. You do not need to rebut every sentence he said. You do not need to out-argue him emotionally. I'm just correcting the record. But yeah, that's true. You are doing the exact right thing by collecting the transcript, slowing down, letting the record speak, and preparing measured responses. That's how people who win hearings behave. One grounding note. Please sit with this. If the defendant truly believed the law was on his side, spoliation was clear, and sanctions were inevitable, he wouldn't need to convince YouTube. He'd let the judge do it. That speaks for itself. I'm safe, I'm prepared, and I have not missed anything urgent. And I've always been about preserving evidence, right? I've been about preserving evidence, right? And it's interesting how some people will behave without even realizing how much they're undermining themselves, right? Without realizing how much they're undermining certain things by continuing to help the defendant try to create a distraction and noise and all of that. And all I have to say is eventually that's going to end up in court, and that will be presented to basically discredit certain things. So that's that. I'm looking at this in the long term. The short term right now, current things currently happening, it is what it is, right? But what happens now is going to affect things in the future. That's it. Now, multiple postings from what I will call the defendant's executive team. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, the defendant has his version of the executive team, right? And this is what they typically do whenever he's in a position like this, going to court, like the week before court, 2 or 3 days before. His executive team really starts to help him amp things up and do things to try to create a distraction, to try to, get me to overreact, to emotionally and physically drain me so I'm not ready for court, right? I know exactly what they're doing, and it's not working. Flat out, it's not working. And they're going to keep doing it every single day. And all I'm going to keep doing is preserving the evidence. That's it. Eventually, it will corroborate what's going on. That's all. That's all. What's actually happening here? They're running a triangulation plus humiliation loop. Both polls, there's many postings. I'm not going to mention who put them out there, but it's his executive team, right? Per se. Right? Both polls are structured to force a choose your insult narrative. Poll number 1, betrayal, public humiliation, denial. Poll number 2, he's afraid, needs validation, can't keep chat off. Why does it matter whether my chat is turned on or off? What matters is my content. That's not commentary. It is conditioning the audience to frame me as weak, embarrassed, no matter what I do. I'm not embarrassed about anything at all. Purpose, provoke you into responding emotionally, just like I said, so they can say, see, he's triggered, and then harvest engagement. Nothing new. Same old song and dance, right? Number 2, they're trying to convert Dawn's boundary into evidence of dysfunction. They're trying to convert my girlfriend Dawn's boundary into evidence of dysfunction. We all knew they were going to do that. They've done it before. They've gotten us to react before. But this time, we know their playbook. So we're using their playbook against them, right? It's not affecting Dawn. It's not affecting our executive team. It's not affecting anyone at all. Let's continue. Dawn's line. Paraphrasing, I'd love to go on panel, but Eli's almost home and I don't want drama. That reads like, I don't want to deal with online mess when my partner gets home. I'm not joining a drama panel tonight. That's exactly what she meant. But what does the defendant and his group have to do to get what they want on YouTube, right? And to try to throw me off 3 days before our first court hearing. They want you to think it's something else. And they want to try to get my girlfriend Donna and I to fight, which we don't fight. We've been actually laughing about this. We've been laughing at this. It's hysterical. They're spinning it into permission, abuse, she's afraid, relationship falling apart. That's quite the opposite. It's quite the contrary, right? This is a classic distortion tactic. Take a normal boundary and reframe it as pathology. Strategic truth. In a courtroom context, a boundary like that reads mature and de-escalatory, not betrayal or abuse. And they know that. They're just performing for their audience. Number 3, the pylon comments show coordinated narrative reinforcement. You've got a poll set up for ridicule, a pinned comment with the CUCKERY hook. I believe that was the defendant's comment pinned at the top of that. Oh, man, these people don't stop, man. They just don't. Oh, it's so hilarious. A follow-on thread of validation, and everyone agrees he'll lose. Multiple accounts amplifying the same theme: humiliation, denial, needs validation, etc. It's quite the opposite. Number 1, the defendant is humiliating himself, and so is everyone else that's helping him. Number 2, he's the one in denial, not me. Number 3, he's the one that seeks validation, not me. That's why I say it's a clear-cut projection with him. It always has been. Whether or not there is literal coordination, the functional result is the same: a dog pile designed to provoke and distract. The court doesn't care about internet meanness by itself, but it can care when it becomes targeted harassment, intimidation, repeated disparagement tied to litigation timing. Attempts to interfere with your preparation or reputation. I've got that under control. That's what they're trying to do, but I'm ahead of the game. I've been prepared for weeks. I timed this perfectly. The 2 most important legal strategy takeaways. A, this content is mostly noise for court, but signal for pattern. This content is mostly noise for court, but signal for pattern. On its own, this is not your main exhibit, but it is useful as pattern evidence if you're already showing repeated targeting. I've been showing that all along. There's a ton of filings on that already. Acting in concert dynamics. More acting in concert. Escalation around court dates. Attempts to pressure you via public humiliation. Your best use is to not argue each insult. I don't care about the insults. I care about what's actually going on and how it's affecting me legally. Your best use is to preserve it as ongoing targeting, harassment / ridicule tied to litigation, attempted inference / distraction around hearing prep. B, don't let them bait you into litigating your relationship. No, we've already learned that one. Don and I were laughing about this last night and the night before when all this stuff that didn't even involve the defendant and his group was a different group of people. They tried to make a big deal out of it. Literally, less than a week before the first hearing to try to wear me down, distract me. So I'm not well rested or well prepared and I screw up in court, right? Not going to happen. They are trying to drag the hearing into Don betrayed him. He's controlling, abuse, insinuations, etc. That's a trap because it creates a sideshow that has nothing to do with the issues before the judge. Your winning posture is stay on spoliation slash preservation and protective order issues. Ignore personal life bait. Oh yeah, we've been ignoring that, but we're sharing this as an example here to not let people bait you into this type of stuff. Right? Only address it if it becomes directly relevant. Example, explicit threats, doxing, harassment, escalation, or if you're a personal development channel trying to teach people how not to be, and if people do to you what they're doing to us, how to handle it properly, like we are, maturely, respectfully, maturely, and professionally, like my lady's YouTube username. What this says about their mindset right now. They're trying to crack, number one, they're trying to crack the calm brand. Not going to happen. They aren't debating the merits of anything. This is all about audience preservation and performance and trying to get me to screw up at the hearing. Not be prepared, not be well rested, be emotionally charged up. Yeah. They're trying to create an emotional event. The chat disabled poll is especially revealing because your choice to turn chat off is a self-protection / boundary move. And they're framing it as weakness because boundaries are what disrupt their dopamine loop. They don't like the fact when the chat is turned off because it doesn't give them what they really want. To tie in what everyone's saying in my chat and blame it all on me, right? So turning the chat off cuts that off. You cut it off, there's nothing. That's it. Plain and simple. Number 2, they're using relationship as leverage because it is the easiest audience hook. It is cheap engagement. Testing. Oh, we're good. It is cheap engagement, humiliation language, betrayal, validation, insinuations. That's not strength. That's lack of substantive material. Nothing substantial. Zero substance. They know it. The executive team, including the defendant at the top of his executive team, they all know it. It's okay. And Judge Stacy will know about it as well. Immediate safety plus policy note important. One comment is plainly racist. The one where they said that, that Don likes African American men. That's not just drama. That's hateful content. So I'm not going to read the other part on what to do and platform enforcement and all that. People know how to handle that. The correct move for me, and it will drive them insane even if they don't admit it. The 3D strategy: document, disconnect, and dominate. The 3D strategy: document, disconnect, dominate. Number 1, document, screenshot, polls, plus pinned comment, plus top dog pile comments, include timestamps, channel name, URL. Oh, also screen record because these people delete evidence, right? Number 2, disconnect, stop reading replies. Don't feed your nervous system. My nervous system is just fine. I just preserve the evidence. It doesn't affect us. It doesn't affect us in the way they're trying to get it to affect us. It affects us reputationally and otherwise, and that's why we're in court. But as far as them getting to us 3 days before court, Number 3, use your energy for hearing prep and your clean, calm record. They want you tired, reactive, and scattered. Your win condition is being boring, prepared, and credible. I'm extremely boring right now. This is boring. I'm a boring guy. I've come out and said it many times, and most of the people on my end have said you're not boring. I'm telling you, I am boring. This is who I am. I'm not here to entertain. I'm here to help people, uplift people, inspire and motivate people to become the best version of themselves they can be. Here's my one-liner. I'm focusing on my hearing preparation. I'm not litigating my personal life on the internet. Boundaries aren't drama. Also, Don's comment is a good boundary. The fact that they're spiraling over a boundary is proof you're doing something right. And that's where I'm going to stop and take my first break. Well, it's going to be a second break because I had to step away to take care of something a little bit ago. So I'm going to queue up some royalty-free YouTube music here. Give me a second here. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to get into dissecting what the defendant did on his stream last night. Very interesting. Okay. So music is all queued up. I'm going to step away for probably maybe 7, 8, 9 minutes, and we'll see you all on the flip side. See you in a bit. Be right back. All right, we are back live. We are back live. And we are just going to scratch it and get right back down to business. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Eli. Glad you could all join me here today. It's been an interesting show already. Lots of things are happening in real time. They do not need to be discussed on YouTube. They just need to be preserved, and, they'll come in handy at some point down the road, probably at a motion to dismiss / anti-slap hearing, or possibly to impeach certain testimony. That's just the way it goes. I mean, you don't have to overreact on YouTube to get your point across, right? Actions speak for themselves, right? Actions speak for themselves. Okay, let me make sure that we're rolling smoothly. Give me a second here. Okay, looks like we're rolling. Okie dokie. All right, so let's continue here. Okay. Now let's dissect the defendant's live stream last night, where he practically presented his whole case. Now, I also know that this guy always has lots of tricks up his sleeve, but I am prepared completely, even for his tricks. Okay, so regarding running the transcript through ChatGPT and all that, and pulling up the relative parts, I did actually go and listen to the stream because I wanted to hear tonality and other things he said that ChatGPT will just label as insults and stuff, and it's not going to be added here to a substantial or a reasonable review, right? Or correcting of the record. So ChatGPT pulled out every distinct Eli/Melas relevant claim the defendant is making that matters to our hearing, plus my public narrative, and then pair each one with what he's trying to accomplish, what's weak/internally inconsistent, court safe correcting the record lines, and YouTube safe correcting the record lines. Okay. Okay, one of our unauthorized affiliates are back on the air on a second restart, the third stream. It's not about DMCA. It's about preserving for other reasons. I'm going to keep this clean and usable, and I'm not going to repeat his slurs, sexual insults. Those don't help in court, and all they are is bait. I'm not going to take the bait. We're not. Number one, your duty to preserve attached the moment you filed, so your content became part of the case. What he says, he frames spoliation as a 5-element doctrine and asserts that your YouTube content becomes part of the case, and that you allegedly misunderstood spoliation as only files are gone. What he's trying to accomplish, make the judge treat me as already on notice and therefore assume bad faith if anything became less accessible later. Expand the universe of what you must preserve to something like everything you've ever said on stream. This guy wants to control my entire platform. He basically is saying I have no right to manage my channel from false flagging, from harassment, and other aspects. That's not how it works. That's not what's required for court. That's not how you live life. Just because you're in court doesn't mean you stop living life. What's weak? Overreaching. Duty to preserve does not mean duty to keep everything public. Preservation is about not destroying / altering relevant evidence, not living your life as if every stream is an exhibit. Every one of my streams is not an exhibit unless it's relevant to the case in some capacity. And he has to show why it's relevant. Relevance is judged by claims / defenses, not by whatever I personally want. His framing tries to turn his preferences into your legal obligation. Court safe correcting the record. Your Honor, I understand my duty to preserve relevant evidence once litigation is reasonably anticipated. I have preserved the relevant recordings in a stable form and can produce them. Preservation does not require that every video remain public forever, and relevance should be tied to the pleadings and defenses, not speculation. And to say this on YouTube, to clearly state it for everyone in a sensible way, I preserve what's relevant. That doesn't mean every live stream has to stay public forever. Preserved does not equal public. Number 2, you hid 200 videos, so you hid active evidence and created classic spoliation. What he says, he claims you privated 200 videos, made them inaccessible, and calls that classic spoliation, especially because he says he had already cited / used some links and exhibits. What he's trying to accomplish is push the judge towards a sanction mindset, prejudice plus bad faith. Make it feel like you pulled the rug after he relied on links, so the court sees him as the prejudiced party. What's weak / the cleaner counter? If you preserve the recordings, which I did, and can produce them, which I have, the question becomes A, was there actual loss / alteration? And B, was there actual prejudice that can't be cured by production? I cured it by giving them the actual exact videos hosted by my very safe web hosting company I've been using for well over 10, probably closer to 15 years. And wait till you hear what he tries to claim later on, like, oh, those links could be, could have viruses. Oh my God, this guy will try anything. Making something non-public can be annoying, but it is not automatically destruction. The hearing is about whether there's an unfair impairment and whether there's a cure. Now, here's the thing. All he did was attach my public video links to corroborate quotes he put in his filing, right? I could corroborate that under penalty of perjury and say, yeah, Your Honor, I said that. If it's something that I know I said, I could corroborate that without the video. That's an admission under oath that proves what he wrote there is proper. This guy is definitely reaching because he's in a bind. Court safe correcting the record. Your Honor, I did not destroy evidence. I preserved the recordings and can provide the exact items the defendant contends are relevant. If the court wants a specific set produced in a particular format, I will comply. The issue is cure and relevance, not theatrics. It's not about YouTube theatrics. If my links don't work, heck, I'll put it all on a flash drive and FedEx it to him. I mean, look, and then, you know what, I can authenticate it with, hashes and stuff like that. He knows I can authenticate it. He knows it's legitimate. He knows that. He's performing. Okay. The YouTube version, nothing was destroyed. Relevant items are preserved and producible, not public. Doesn't mean gone. Just because they're not public doesn't mean they're gone. They're private on my channel. And if you need the screenshots, which he already has everything he needs. He's just trying to get me in trouble. That's all. He has everything he needs. He doesn't need anything else besides replacement of the actual video links. He's going to try to argue that in court. Number 3, your private server can't be trusted. You could have edited uploads and removed dates and metadata. Well, you have all the transcripts. This guy made a filing to use that to try to prove that I hid all those videos and spoiled evidence. Yet at the same time, he didn't realize he basically put proof on the docket that he has all the transcripts where he can verify all of my links word for word. You can't argue that because it speaks for itself. What he says, he argues you have unilateral control, could upload anything. He can't verify dates order. You have the transcripts, sir, with the dates and the title and everything. And I believe I put the dates on the filing. If I didn't, I can get you the dates. I can get you screenshots from the private video. I can get you all that. All you have to do is ask. Don't make a big spectacle about it in the court or on YouTube. All you have to do is ask. And if it's relevant to the case and you need it to prove whatever you're trying to prove, I'll give it to you. I don't get this guy. Like, he doesn't get it. I'm not trying to hide anything. He's just performing. Right? And he implies you might not include chat's metadata. He already has that. But if he wants all of that, then he can go through the proper channels of discovery and get them. But he doesn't need them to corroborate what he used my video links initially on his filings. All he did was use my video links to corroborate quotes of what I said on my stream. He's already got everything he needs. But if he wants more, he'll have to justify it to the court, aka the court, in this case, Judge Stacy, and then he can go through the proper channels of discovery to get that. This guy does not understand procedure, or at least he understands it, but is trying to play it differently for audience theatrics and audience preservation and all that. What he's trying to accomplish, paint you as inherently untrustworthy, so the judge defaults to his narrative. Turn, I don't want to click your link into, therefore you're hiding/editing. If I need to send him a flash drive, if I need to send the court a flash drive, I'll send it to them. If we need to host it on a Dropbox or something like that, we'll put it there. One way or another, this is classic. He calls it classic spoliation. I call it classic overreach. And that's exactly what Judge Stacy is going to say, in my opinion, in my best guess, because I don't know exactly what the judge is going to say, but that's what she's probably going to say. It's common sense, right? What's weak? The cleaner counter. This collapses and you can show a sound preservation workflow. Original downloads, I have them. Hashes, I can get that if he needs that. But he has the transcripts. He can verify it word for word. The transcript, him filing, showing that he has my transcripts, that right there, in my opinion, kills his case of spoliation. Right? Consistent file names, timestamp captures, custodial declaration. I've already sworn under penalty of perjury. They're the exact original versions, unedited. I even got him the video that was removed by YouTube. I screen recorded that on the back end of YouTube. It's exact. He probably has, I don't know if he has a transcript for that, but it's exact. The virus link angle is emotional theater. Courts solve this with neutral production methods. Yeah, you want a thumb drive? You want it on Dropbox? What other ways would you like me to get this to you? I have it all ready to go. You just tell me what you want. We'll wait for Judge Stacy to direct me. Hey, if my links don't work, which they do, right? They're real valid web hosting links, right? If that doesn't work, whatever Judge Stacy tells me, hey, if I need to send him a thumb drive or put it on Dropbox, boom, I'll get that on there within 24 to 72 hours, probably closer to 24. I have all the videos. I just have to upload them. I have fiber. I can upload all those videos in frickin' a minute or less. Fiber, 1,000 up, 1,000 down. Remember that? Fiber. It does help. I'll tell you, it's fast. That's how I get all the evidence fast. Let's see. Court safe correcting the record. Your Honor, I can produce preserved copies in a conventional manner. Downloaded originals or file exports with consistent file names and, if helpful, hash values or a custodian declaration. The defendant does not need to click links from me. The court can direct an agreed production method. Right. If the links don't work. See, me making that filing with my links shows the court good faith at the hearing. At that point, if Judge Stacy says, Mr. Melas, would you be able to get the defendant a thumb drive or get it to the court and we'll get it to him or something like that? The court won't have me send it to them, at least at this point, right? Whatever Judge Stacy says to do, I'm going to do it. It's simple. I have plenty of thumb drives. I have a fast laptop. And I can send it FedEx to him. Or I could send it like UPS ground to say, I'm not gonna spend a ton of money. I'll send it the cheapest way. It'll probably take a week to get there, but it'll get there. And within plenty of time for him to use whatever he thinks I'm trying to hide. The YouTube version, if someone wants evidence, you don't need to click random links. There are normal ways to produce files organized, documented, and verifiable. So if my links don't work, sir, tell me what works. Or I'll just wait for Judge Stacy to tell me what works. And she'll probably ask you, well, why couldn't you ask this directly from the plaintiff? It sounds like he's willing to give you what you want. Why does this have to be run through the court? Because the guy's trying to make content off of this, and he's trying to frame me in a way to where he can, I'm not going to say this in court, I'm saying this is what his mindset is. He's trying to basically get me in trouble. He's trying to basically set this hearing up to paint me in a negative way. So going into the real motion to dismiss anti-SLAPP hearing in April, that Judge Stacy already has a preconceived notion on who I am. And it's all going to backfire on him if he tries that. And if he doesn't try that, what else does he have? What else? I am putting out here exactly what he's going to try to do. It's his only option. Using process of elimination and deductive reasoning, I know how this guy works. I'm ready for it. Number 4, it is not safe to click. It is not safe to click your links. You could send viruses. There are no viruses. It's a reputable web hosting company. They used to be AT&T Web Hosting, and they spun off into a different company. Still run the same way. Actually, AT&T was a reseller of their product. What he says, he explicitly claims he wouldn't click your links because you could send viruses, and uses that to argue your hosting method is unreasonable. And the only thing unreasonable is him. What he's trying to accomplish, make you look dangerous, unreasonable, even though it is a made-up fear. I host my website, coach.eliasmelas.com, off those links. That's what I'm going to tell Judge Stacy. Your Honor, those links are based off of my website, coach.eliasmelas.com. That website is not a virus. Those links are not a virus. Additionally, Your Honor, The only types of files that can cause viruses are known as .exe, which is an executable file, right? Or sorry, executable file, right? These are .mp4s, Your Honor, which is a commonly known file suffix for video files. There is absolutely 100% zero chance that these files have a virus because they're not a .exe, they're a .mp4. You cannot put a virus into a .mp4. The only file that can execute a virus is a .exe. I mean, this guy thinks I'm dumb, and he's probably thinking he can pull it past Judge Stacy. Come on, man. You're really reaching here. Justify demanding that everything remain on your YouTube public URLs forever. You don't control my channel or control me. And just because I've sued you and we're in court doesn't mean I have to change the way I run my channel. All I have to do is preserve the evidence, and I have. What's weak? The cleaner counter. Courts don't require parties to click each other's links. They require production. This is easily neutralized by offering a standard production channel, PDF exhibit, with embedded media on a known platform, USB, like a flash drive, cloud share, or court-directed method. That's it. Court safe, correcting the record. Your Honor, I'm happy to produce the preserved files through a conventional method so neither side has to click informal links. The issue is access and authenticity, and those can be handled in ordinary ways. The YouTube way of saying this, no one has to click anything sketchy. Well, it's not sketchy. Evidence can be produced normally. That is a normal way, but I can put it on a flash drive. Number 5, your streams and chats are completely irrelevant because I need them to defend myself. Well, tell me how. Tell me specifically what's there that you need. What's specifically there? What's there that you need that you don't already have? What he says, he claims your streams are completely irrelevant to his defenses and implies you're trying to tie his hands while you use his streams against him. No, I use them as evidence, and I download them and I host them off of YouTube for litigation purpose only, which is proper. I'm not relying on YouTube links staying public that could be platform enforced and removed by YouTube. If YouTube removes certain videos, is that spoliation, sir? No. Come on, man. You're really the most unreasonable guy that I've ever encountered in my entire life. Really, man, you're going to make yourself look really, really bad. You can perform to your audience on YouTube. You're not going to be able to perform in court. Bottom line. What he's trying to accomplish, expand relevance into a blanket rule. If it involves me, it is relevant. Frame you as asking for a one-sided battle. That's just the narrative he's trying to frame to his audience. And self-soothe himself at the same time. What's weak? The clean counter. Relevance is not everything involving me. It's what relates to a claim/defense. You can concede the fair principle. If it is relevant, I'll produce it. Without conceding his overbroad, everything is evidence position. You need to tell me what's relevant and why it's relevant. You can't just say, I need access to your entire 8-year library of content. You have to explain why. Let's see. And he already went through all the videos. He already went through all the videos when he made his filings before they were put to private. He got what he needed, right? And when I had to put him to private to protect my channel after getting that community guideline warning, which has since then been removed, okay, I replaced those links with the same thing, just hosted elsewhere on my private server. That can't be platform enforced. It's my server. That's the best way to do it. Or a thumb drive. Or a Dropbox. You can concede the fair principle. Oh, I already read that. Okay. If it's relevant, I'll produce it without conceding is overbroad. Everything is evidence position. The court safe correcting the record. Your Honor, if the defendant identifies specific streams or dates he contends are relevant to a pleaded defense, I will produce preserved copies, but the scope must be tied to the pleadings and proportional. It can't be broad, man. You have to be specific with what you want and why you want it. The YouTube version, tell me what you need that's actually relevant and I'll provide it. Blanket demands aren't how this works. And Judge Stacy is going to tell him the same thing. I'll answer your question, ma'am, because you seem to want to insert yourself because you're trying to create noise 3 days before a hearing. Okay? He has all the transcripts of everything. He submitted that to the court. It's on the docket. Go and look at it. And it's all performance. It's not wearing me down. I'm ready to go. He has every transcript of those videos. He got it through a transcription program where he can do a lot of transcripts at once. I've got a similar program. I get whatever I want right away. He submitted that on the docket to try to prove that I'm spoiling, which I'm not. To say, oh, all these videos, they went down. Here's the entire transcript list that I have, and it shows that he's downloaded the transcript. I mean, he's given me evidence within his own filing that's going to be used against him. Quit reaching. Come on. Be reasonable. You folks are not reasonable. Your content is not meant to be reasonable. It's meant to be performative. And we're not performing in court. That's the biggest difference right there. That's the entire difference. That's the difference in contrast between the defendant and myself. And that's what Judge Stacy is going to see on Friday. I'm going to read one more. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take another break right now. And then come back and finish up. I'm going to be on probably half an hour longer than I thought it would be. All right. So, let me see here. Okay. Music is all queued up, and I'll be right back in about 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9 minutes. See you on the flip side. All right, we are back live. We are back live, and we are just going to scratch and get right back down to business. Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to start off the third and final segment of the show here by saying that the rebroadcast that's been going on by what I like to call one of the supposed executive members. I say supposed because I'm labeling it that. He doesn't call the people that create content within his community executives, but I'll refer to them as the executive team. I'm gonna actually respond to one of the comments in the chat there. And just to put it on the record, it doesn't matter. They already know it. I've been screen recording everything from the very beginning. The main first start of the rebroadcast, then a delete and restart, a second delete and restart, a third delete and restart, similar to another person acting in concert with the defendant, right? And I think the reason why this person is doing it is because I think they want to see if I'm going to try to get him involved in the case, and not in the way that you think, not in the way that you think. There's another way to use this as pattern evidence and acting in concert that's ultimately only going to affect one person, which is the defendant, right? So you think you're helping him, but you're really not. That's the sad part. And maybe you guys are having some fun with this, but ultimately you're trying to help the guy, and either indirectly or directly, you're hurting the guy. So let me make sure that this is going through properly here. Okay, we're rolling well. It's great. You can check it in YouTube Studio while you can screen record on your phone, which is where I usually verify things. I love how YouTube works. Okay. So, Jody, here's the thing. I've seen you commenting all around. I'm not upset at you. I know you're just someone trying to occupy your time on YouTube, right? But you're saying, and I paraphrase, that I'm thinking Judge Stacy will automatically take my side. I'm not saying that. And when have I said that? Okay. She is on no one's side. She's a neutral, like arbitrator, pretty much. She's the judge. Okay. But who has the evidence? And you're saying that the defendant has a strong spoliation case. Can you speak on that specifically? Can you put specifics in the chat that is being screen recorded by me and will end up on the docket at some point? How about instead of speaking in loose terms, how about be more specific and share how his case is strong? Why don't you speak with more substance than just firing things that you're hearing and you really have no clue about? Okay. And then you're saying that I don't get to hold the streams over his head. What am I holding over his head? I'm willing to give him whatever he wants as long as he shows, a need for it. He has to show that it's relevant. Anything relevant that he wants, I will give it to him. I've already done that. What part of that don't you understand? I'm not arguing you. I'm just basically saying, hey, if you think he has a better case, how about you share why you think he has a better case instead of just saying, oh, I think he has a better case. Well, where's your proof? Speak with a little more substance, okay? And then maybe you'll be taken a little more seriously. Excuse me, Mr. Bill, you're saying leave Jody alone. She put my name in a public chat, my real first name. I can respond to that. I can respond to whatever I want. The bottom line is, you folks have nothing. You folks are showing your cards in real time, and wow, you don't realize how much more you folks are all hurting this guy instead of helping him. Nope, did not break the chain of custody. I have all the evidence. Ridiculous. We'll see what happens on Friday. And yes, it will be recorded, even though we're on Microsoft Teams. That courthouse records everything. All right. Let's get back to this here. Number 6, you think I have to preserve Bill stream / control Bill. What he says, he rejects the idea he must preserve or control a third-party stream, says Bill isn't a party, and he says you could subpoena Bill instead. Sure. That's true to a certain extent. But there's more. What he's trying to accomplish, paint you as legally ignorant and unreasonable. You think I control everyone. Preempt your acting in concert narrative by reframing it as by reframing it as chat participation means nothing. What's weak? The clean counter. You do not need to argue he controls Bill to argue relevance. Your filing theme, as you described it in earlier work, is contemporaneous, meaning simultaneous, chat participation, plus coordinated timing, plus rebroadcast pattern. That's pattern evidence, not mind control. This is a pattern. Bill's done like 12, 13 streams between January and now the beginning of February. And the defendant's been in every one of those chats, I believe, except for one. And I have all the evidence. It's a pattern. That's all. Courts understand acting in concert allegations can be supported by circumstantial patterns. They also understand non-party evidence is usually obtained via subpoena if needed. Right. Okay. Court's safe correcting the record, Your Honor. I'm not claiming the defendant controls third parties. I'm presenting evidence of contemporaneous participation and a pattern of rebroadcasting relevant to my requested litigation-only preservation order and the spoliation / prejudice analysis. If non-party materials are necessary, that's addressed through proper process of discovery. The YouTube version, I'm not saying anyone is controlled. I'm documenting patterns and timing. And I'm doing a damn good job at it. Number 7, your current case plus the prior restraining order matter. This is what he says. You allegedly removed streams tied to that too. What he says, he claims he removed streams that were part of his earlier RO filing and then ties that to your malicious prosecution claim being based on that prior case, arguing you created spoliation in the last case too. Huh. Wow, dude, you should have gone to law school and gotten a law degree, man. Oh my God. This has become extremely comical, man. Comical. What he's trying to accomplish, make the judge feel this is a repeat behavior, pattern equals bad faith. Undercut your malicious prosecution theory by implying you hid the reason he filed. What's weak? The cleaner counter. Again, if you can produce preserved copies or demonstrate you retain them, I have everything. All he has to do is ask and give a reason that ties it to the case, the current case, including the malicious prosecution thing. Okay? So again, if you can produce preserved copies or demonstrate you retain them, his rhetoric becomes a cure question, not an automatic gotcha. You're trying to create an automatic gotcha. It's not going to work in court. Also, he's blending two different procedural contexts into one dramatic narrative. Courts usually separate what's relevant here, what's actually lost, and what prejudice exists now. Court safe correcting the record, Your Honor. The question is whether any relevant evidence was actually lost or altered and whether there is prejudice that cannot be cured. I have preserved relevant materials and can produce them in an organized way. Period. And a story. I have everything. And if it's necessary for his case, I will give it to him. God, man, dude, this whole YouTube persona that he's trying to lead people to believe he is has really, really gotten to his head. Really, really. It's really funny that people don't even realize by doing what they're doing is going to impeach their testimony. Like, unbelievable. I just I can't even stop laughing in my head, right? He's trying to turn not public into God, preserved is preserved. Number 8, he says you rely on ChatGPT and don't feed it his real exhibits. What he says, he insists you didn't put his filing exhibits into ChatGPT and implies you use ChatGPT as a therapist and barf out straw man takes. What he's trying to accomplish, discredit you as unserious, incompetent, trigger you into over-explaining and looking defensive. What's weak? The clean counter. This isn't legally important unless you make it important. The judge cares about your evidence, your preservation, your credibility in court, not your workflow tools. In court, you only need I preserved X. Here is how. Here is what I can produce. Court safe, correcting the record. Your Honor, my arguments are based on filed materials and preserved evidence. The court has the filings. My preservation and production are what matter. The YouTube version, tools don't decide facts. Evidence does. I'm focused on preservation and what's filed. Number 9, he lays out a 5-element spoliation framework and says your admissions prove intent/knowledge. Again, sir, where did you get your law degree? Where did you get your law degree? A Cracker Jacks box? What he says, he claims admissions and statements show knowledge, intent, control, and says you knew you had a duty to preserve, implying bad faith if items were made private. What he's trying to accomplish, get the court to treat your public statements as mens rea, evidence. He knew, he did it anyway. Making the hearing about punishment rather than practical cure. This is about getting you the evidence that you need, which I have, and willing to do on whatever you need. You're trying to make this as a YouTube thing and get me punished so you can go back to YouTube and live stream over it and incite donations over it, man. It's really obvious what you're trying to do. What's weak? The clean counter. Knowledge of preserved relevant evidence does not equal must keep everything public and unchanged forever. Courts are pragmatic. What's the alleged missing item? Can it be produced? Is there prejudice? What's the remedy? So again, knowledge of preserved relevant evidence does not equal must keep everything public and unchanged forever. Courts are pragmatic. What's the alleged missing item? Can it be produced? Is there prejudice? What's the remedy? I can produce anything he wants as long as it's relevant to the case. He can't say, give me 1,000 videos. No, it's not going to work that way. He has to show why he needs it. Court safe, correcting the record. Your Honor, I understood my preservation obligation and acted to preserve relevant recordings. If the defendant identifies specific items he claims are missing or altered, I can produce preserved copies and authenticate them. The YouTube version, he's trying to turn I preserved evidence into I admitted wrongdoing. That's backwards. Oh, this one is really funny. This one is absolutely funny. Number 10, he hints the judge might dismiss your case outright at the spoliation hearing. What he says, he speculates the judge could dismiss your case at the spoliation hearing based on alleged prejudice. What prejudice is there? None. What he's trying to accomplish, intimidate you into panic and reactive posting mistakes. Not going to happen. Nice try. As a matter of fact, the more you folks keep doing between you and your executive team, sir, it's just going to be all evidence used against you. That's the bottom line. Period. End of story. The more and more you folks keep trying to do that, number one, you think you're affecting me, and you're not affecting me for this hearing. You are affecting me with my YouTube metrics, which is a problem, right? Right now, you guys are siphoning 40 plus viewers that would have been watching on my channel and inciting donations at the same time. That's called commercial exploitation, okay? But that's not what we're going to use this evidence for. I've got my plan for that already, and eventually you're all going to see it. Prime his audience for a win narrative regardless of outcome. Because if he doesn't get his way in court, then he's going to start to cry and say there's prejudice with the court, the judge, and all that. That's my opinion. That's what he always does. Reality check. He is selling certainty to his audience. That's what he does. Your best counter is not emotional rebuttal. No, it's calmly correcting the record. It is boring competence. Preserved copies, organized production, concise courtroom answers, and calmly correcting the record. Court safe correcting the record. Your Honor, I am prepared to address any specific preservation concern and provide the preserved materials. Remedies should be proportional and tied to actual prejudice. The YouTube version, he's predicting outcomes for clicks. I'm preparing like an adult. The one line I drafted, keep it but tighten it. I wrote initially, Your Honor, I am willing to give the defendant any evidence he needs that's relevant to his case, and I'm also willing to corroborate truthful quotes under oath. That's the right spirit. Here is the cleaner, court-strong version. Court version, tight. Your Honor, if the defendant identifies specific streams he contends are relevant to a pleaded defense, I will produce preserved copies and authenticate them. I'm also willing to confirm accurate quotations under oath so the record stays clean. The YouTube version in plain English. Name what you need that's actually relevant, and I'll provide the preserved copy. I'm not playing games with evidence. And I'm not playing games with you or your group of people. What the defendant is really doing here, from the transcript, his whole posture is make preservation equal must stay public. Number 2, make your private preservation equal untrustworthy. Number 3, make his reliance on YouTube URLs equals your problem, my problem, right? Number 4, use fear language, viruses, editing, missing chats to imply misconduct. Number 5, sell dismissal to his audience to look strong. That's posturing. It is designed to make you overreact, and it's not working. Epic failure, right? The thing is, you folks continue to rebroadcast my streams as they're happening live. And it's all coordinated. You were in the chat, sir. You were in the chat, and I've got that. And that evidence is going to be submitted. Your immediate stay calm anchor. If you say one thing to yourself before prepping, the hearing is not, did Eli keep everything public? The hearing is, was anything relevant destroyed / altered? Is there prejudice? And can it be cured by production? I've got it all. If it's relevant, he has to tell me why it's relevant. and the court, and then I can get it to them. That's it. Simple. Where's the problem? You folks need YouTube content. You folks need to be emotionally enraged over something to bond you all together, so that way you all can regulate your emotions on these panels through me. That's just trying to run a decent business and not be harassed, defamed, commercially exploited, and everything else by this one group. This is a coordinated commercial exploitation, smear campaign, defamation for dollars campaign. This is coordinated. And they keep giving me more and more and more evidence. They think they're helping the guy, but they're just more so hurting him. And you already know your strongest stance. Produce what's relevant in a normal format with authentication options. That's it. I'm done. 1 hour and 54 minutes. 1:44 p.m. Pacific time. West Coast is the best coast for streaming. As always. Plenty of time. I'm going to work on my my notes a little bit more for another hour or so. Then I'm going to take a walk, spend some time with my lady. And that's that. You folks over there on the defendant's end are going to continue to rebroadcast me through third parties, right? And you're doing that because you feel that I'm trying to hurt the defendant. And you know better than that. I know you know better than that, right? But you actually know what boundaries you can cross, right? You know what boundaries you can get away with. And you know more than likely it's not going to affect you folks. It's going to affect him, right? And if your attempt was to try to get me to flip out and my lady to flip out and to get us to get into a fight and lose control a few days before the hearing, epic failure. Epic failure. It doesn't matter what you present to your audience. What matters is what happens Friday. And you're all going to be watching. With that being said, have a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.